have some different scenario for a firm in the short run. So here, so basically, in the short run, there are some fixed costs. Okay, there are some fixed inputs for our production in the short run, like firm, like factory, machine, something like that. So the decision of firm in the short run is a little bit different from the long run, where everything is flexible. So here, so basically we have three different scenarios. So first, so let me clean this. So let's talk about decision in the short run and the long run. Okay. So first let's talk about the scenario when the price bigger or firm. Let's talk about, so because we so far we already learned about firm in perfect competition market. Firm in perfect competition market, basically they are price taker. They accept the price from the market, and if the price from the market greater than the average total cost, what happened? Because P equal to B, basically B minus B times Q minus average total cost times Q for the quantity of output. So this one actually equal to B minus A, D, C times Q, right? And if the price in the market, we accept the price from the market. And if the price is greater than your average total cost, it means P is positive, right? And so basically you make a profit. Because this one is positive. So then we accept the price from the market. So the best possible decision for a firm is they try to minimize the cost. They try to minimize the cost, average total cost. So the optimal decision for firm, they choose the technology that to minimize the cost, and then so try their best to minimize the cost and earn the profit. Because we have to adapt the price from the market. That's different from the firm with the market power like monopoly or oligopoly. They can choose the quantity of output that affect the price in the market. Okay, so you can think about like I said, we think about like the luxury market, the luxury good market. So why they just produce like very few units of output, LV, Hermes or something like that, because that make them, that help them to sell the product with very high price. Okay, and they choose the quantity of output to maximize their profit. They have market power. Products are very different. But in the perfect competition market, the products are identical. So no way to affect the price. But if the price in the market is greater than the average total cost, so we make a profit. So as if the price basically greater than the average total cost, you make the profit. Okay. And then what happens if the price is less than the average total cost, but still greater than the average variable cost? What happens? What should we do? If the price in the market is something like X, so for example is like X. What happens if the price in the market is lower the average total cost? What happens? P minus ATC
Negative.
become negative. And what does it mean?
We lost.
P is negative. So you make a loss. You are making loss. You produce and you make a loss. Okay. But so in the second scenario, if B less than A, D, C, so basically you make a loss. But if B less than ATC and B still greater than average variable cost, like this, it's still greater than the average variable cost. What should we do in the short run? What should we do?
We get paid the fixed cost.
You are making a loss. P less than 0, right? But we should keep operating your business or shut down your business.
Keep.
Why?
Because we should minimize the loss.
Yeah.
We get the fixed cost paid.
Because in the short run there are some fixed costs. And at least because the price is greater than the average variable cost, you are compensating a share of average variable cost, average fixed cost. You produce more, it helps you to compensate the fixed cost, right? Because at least it's greater than the average variable cost. Okay, so in this case you make a lot, P less than 0, but firm should keep operating to compensate for the fixed cost. Okay, so when the price is bad, okay, so here I would say it's one price greater than ATC. So in this scenario, I have B greater than ABC, but B less than ATC. And in both of these scenarios, B greater than ATC, you are making profit, so you should, of course, we should produce more. Here we should keep operating, maintaining our business in the short run, right? How about this boy? What happens if the price is even lower than the average total cost, like this? Like this. So here, B less than the average variable cost. So what happened?
We shut down.
Yeah, we shut down our business. So because even you produce more unit of output, the revenue cannot compensate for the average variable cost. So how can it compensate for average fixed cost? So you make much more loss if you keep producing. So here, this point we call the shutdown point.
Shut down.
Shutdown. So we close our business close down our business and exit from the market. So go on. Okay. So if the price is less than basically the average variable cost, or the total revenue is less than the total variable cost, then we just firm just should exit the market. So that in the short run, okay? That in the short run. Okay. So here I'm talking about short run. Here about short run. Okay. So what happened in the long run? What happened in the long run? So in the long run, there are no fixed costs. There are no fixed costs. So firm basically, if the price, so if they make loss, if the price less than the average total cost, firm also has it. So shut down in the long run. Because in the long run, there are no fixed costs. Okay. So the difference in this scenario is one. Okay. So in this scenario, basically in the short run, firms should give overrated their business, but in the long run, they also exit the market. Okay. So in the long run, nothing is flexible, nothing is fixed, everything is flexible. Okay.
Scenario.
So here, it's one. Okay, so this one, I call this one either the red one, the short run, marginal cost. Or S R M C. Okay. So that is a short run scenario. Short run marginal cost is the short run supply curve. Short run supply curve. Okay. So let's talk about the long run decision. What happened? What are different in the long run? What are different between the long run and short run is, in the long run we have, so basically nothing is fixed. And when we talk about a long run cost, so basically we have three scenarios: the increase in return to scale, or economy of scale. We have the constant return to scale or decreasing return to scale. So basically, increase in return to scale or economy of scale. So when the firm become bigger, the loss decrease, the cost decrease. Okay. Economy of scale. Increase in the firm scale of production lead to a lower cost per unit produced. Okay, so basically because of the market power, because of probably they can take more advantage from investment, okay, and that help them to lower the cost per unit of producing. Obviously in the digital economy, the firm like Meta or something like that, the firm in, like the firm in, so the technological firm in digital economy, they face almost zero marginal cost because of the economy of scale. So like Meta or YouTube, basically if they have very high initial investment, But then when everything is set up, so if they have more customer, more subscription, more subscriber, basically they earn more and more revenue. The marginal cost is almost zero. Okay. So that's kind of economy of scale. We have a constant return to scale. An increase in the firm scale of production has no effect on cost per unit product. It is just a special case in reality here. So basically we have another common scenario, something we call the decreasing return to scale on this economy of scale. So an increase in the firm scale of production leads to a higher cost per unit of production. So when the firm become too big to manage, when they become too big to manage, so they are not as efficient anymore. Okay. So when like you can see like in Vietnam, you can see like the case of I don't know like Hoàng Gia Lai or something like that. So in the past they earn a very high, very large profit. After that, when they become bigger, they face poor management problem, probably decreasing return to scale. Or you can observe like many like big corporations in real estate markets nowadays. Like you can see like I don't know if it's too early to talk about the financial market or real estate market with you, but you can see that like Novaland or something like that. So in the past, they have very high profit. Recently, they have poor management problem. So decreasing return on scale. Too big to manage. Okay, so we also have our firm long run average cost curve, LRAC, and we have the average cost of producing an associated level of output in the long run when all costs are variable, all costs are flexible. And the optimal scale of the plant is the scale of the plant that minimizes the long run average cost. And that the optimal choice for a firm in the long run. Why? Why for the long run? So basically, this is the short run supply curve. But what happened in the long run? What happened in the long run? Why in the long run? The optimal scale of the plant is a scale that plant can minimize the long run average cost. So in the long run, the best firm can do is minimize the average cost. Why? 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 So we have different shape of long run average cost. So we have economy scale, decreasing long run average cost, we have constant, and we have increase in long run average cost. But what happens for a firm in the long run? So why in the long run that firm just try to minimize their average cost? Why? So basically it's one, the long run average cost curve LRAC is the minimum efficient scale at every unit of output. Why? So, because actually this content relate to what we learn in equilibrium, the demand curve and supply curve market. So here, the problem is for firm in perfect competition market, they may earn some kind of positive profit in the short run, but not in the long run. For firm in perfect competition market, they can earn positive profit only in the short run, not in the long run. Why? So, what are there any other property of a firm in perfect competition market? So a firm in perfect competition market, price taker, they sell identical product, right? There are many buyer and seller, so no one has the power, right? The buyer cannot bargain with the seller, and the seller cannot increase the price. Even when they increase the price, just 1 cent they can lose all their customer. They can switch to other seller, right? And property of firm in perfect competition. Another thing that you haven't told me today, what are you mixing? Another property of firm in perfect competition market. And why I say firm in perfect competition market only earn a positive profit in the short run, but not in the long run.
Because a lot of firm make enterprise and they will have better cost.
Exactly. So basically, there are no barrier to entry or exit. No barrier for a firm to enter or exit the market. If you want, you can join. If you make loss, you can leave. So that's the problem with perfect competition. No barrier for competition. Okay. So for firm like in monopoly like market, like we say the case of Meta, Facebook, TikTok, because they are very high barrier for a new player to join the market. IP, intellectual property, and also they have pay a lot of money for R&D, okay, if they want to join the market. Here, for firm in perfect competition market, it's very easy for everybody to join the market. And that's the problem. You cannot earn a positive profit in the long run. So in the short run, you may earn positive profit if the price greater than average total cost. But in the long run, when you earn the positive profit, so we call that a super normal. So it's not normal. Super normal, abnormal profit. Okay. So here, because we will go back to the property of different kind of markets later on. So here, so please keep in mind that normal profit, let's say the normal profit of a firm in perfect competition market is 0. When you earn a positive profit, there are new seller will join the market. There are new producer will join the market because there are no barrier. Okay, so basically the supply curve, the supply curve of the market sit down because the supply increase. Then we have a new seller, and then that leads the price decrease. Make the price down when there are new producer join the market. And when the price decrease, the difference between total revenue and total cost decrease. Okay, so your profit will decrease in the long run because somebody will join the market. So that's the problem. Okay. And if what happens if we make loss when the price is less than the average total cost? What happens? Somebody will leave the market. Somebody will leave the market. Okay, and that's if the supply curve to the left. And when the quantity of supply in the market decrease, so basically assuming that we have the same quantity of demand, and when the supply decrease, that puts the price up. And when the price increase, the people will earn some profit. So until this point. So this point is basically the balance in perfect competition market. And here, you earn zero profit when the price equal to the total cost. Okay, so basically in the long run, firm just try to produce. They try to produce at the scale when they can minimize their cost. And how can firm minimize the cost? How can firm minimize the cost? Remember that the marginal cost cross the average variable cost and average total cost at their minimum. So basically in the long run, they just produce at the unit of output where the marginal cost cross the average variable cost. And that's a minimum. The optimal choice for firm in the long run. Okay. So it is the optimal choice for the firm. You cannot earn profit, positive profit. And if you make loss, you just go home, leave the market. Okay. So for firm in perfect competition market. So basically it is the optimal choice. Okay. So now because no one can affect the market. No one has the market power. You cannot affect the price. You cannot affect the quantity of demand in the competition. So if the market want like 200,000 unit of output, so you try to minimize your cost at that kind of quantity of demand. Okay, it's something like that. And if the market want like 50,000 unit of output, you just try to minimize your cost at that kind of quantity of demand. Same here, the same here. Okay, so for long run supply curve, so long run average cost curve, you just firm basically produce as the long run average cost curve firm, so the different scale of which the firm can choose to operate in the long run. Each scale of operation define different short run scenario. Okay, so basically you just try to minimize the cost in the long run. Okay, so this one is basically, so this idea very similar, related to what we learned in topic 4, equilibrium. Okay, so here, so assuming that it is the demand curve for the market, not the firm, the whole market, and we have assuming that we have 100 firm in the market, 100 producer in the market, and each producer produce 2,000 unit of output. So we have 100 producer, and the total unit of output is as the equilibrium in the market at 200,000 here unit of output from the market. Okay, so if assuming that when you make a profit and you produce above the optimal scale plan, so basically this attract the new entry of the firm. Okay, so there are new players on the market, and then the supply curve shift right. Okay, shift down, and then the price decrease. When the price decreases, you earn zero profit again in the long run. So in the long run, firm in perfect competition market earn zero profit. Yeah. So in the long run, they just produce when the total revenue cover the opportunity cost for firm in perfect competition market. Okay. So you can apply this scenario to what happened in our real life, like for vendor or like for lottery seller. They cannot earn supernormal profit in the long run. Because if somebody can earn a lot of income from selling lottery, there are more and more people want to work, right? And then their income decrease. So that's kind of perfect competition market. Your labor, like in lottery selling market, is kind of perfectly competitive. So everybody can join, everybody can exit. So if selling lottery earn very low income, some people may leave, right? They switch to other kind of job, cleaner or some kind of, because there are no barrier in this kind of labor market. So you earn higher degree, there are higher barrier for people to join to compete with you. So that's the benefit of earning a grade, a degree, right? Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to this one later when we finish topic 4, equilibrium. We talk about the whole market, buyer and seller. So in the long run equilibrium, firm basically they just try to minimize the average cost. So the short run marginal cost equal to the short run average cost and equal to the short run long run average cost. This one. Firm make no excess profit. Excess profit is something I call a supernormal, abnormal profit. You may earn some kind of abnormal positive profit in the short run. So remember that normal profit is 0. Normal profit of firm in perfect competition is 0. Okay, in the long run, no one can earn positive. You cannot win. You cannot compete with the market. You cannot combat with the market. Everybody too small compared to the market. Okay, there are many buyers, many sellers. They have similar technology, similar advantage with you. Okay. So we sell lottery. So what are your advantage to sell like more lottery ticket? Very hard, right? So there are enough firms so that the supply is what it meant. So okay. In perfect competition market, firms don't make supernormal. Supernormal means positive profit in the long run. So they also don't make a loss in the long run. Somebody make loss and leave. So the economic profit, normal economic profit would be 0. Okay. So we should have 5-minute break and go back with topic 4, equilibrium.